welcome to the Everything is Earned podcast. My name is Mike.
I am your co-host, Tim.
And we're Everything Cleveland, and this is the Everything is Earned podcast. I think we've explained that a couple times. Our podcast is called Everything is Earned. Our company is Everything Cleveland, and we're just here to talk about everything going on in your Cleveland sports world. And we're going to start with the Browns tonight. So the Browns are playing the Buffalo Bills, and I'm not particularly excited or worried, or I don't have any emotions right now. I'm very tone deaf on the Browns. They just need to do something for me.
I think at this point in the season we're desensitized. It's like, all right, if something happens, we're going to get excited and we're going to get back into the flow of being the optimistic Browns fan. Like, all right, we can get back in it. We can win 8 straight games. But for the time being, we gotta see what the first quarter looks like on Sunday.
If the Browns throttle the Bills and bury them, I might get back on board. It's just going to take me a little bit to get back on board.
A huge win, a statement win against a tough Buffalo defense.
You know what will help that is the Browns getting Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt involved, yes.
Yeah.
His first came back from his 8-day suspension, and we're kind of curious about what Freddie Kitchens is going to do with him. Is he going to use him as just a third down back? Is he going to split the carries with Nick Chubb and lighten the load? It's interesting to see what kind of shape he's in and how Freddie Kitchens will use him. I'm more on the side of Freddie Kitchens misusing him, because that's what he's been doing all season long, so why would he be any different with Kareem Hunt? But I'm optimistic, and I'm going to keep an open mind about that.
I think that Freddie could use him in the wishbone, which he hasn't really shown this season, which would be really cool. And like you said in an earlier episode, getting Hilliard off the field will be very much welcomed. And don't forget that Kareem Hunt's very good out of the backfield as a pass-catching running back. He's very athletic, he's very shifty, and I think that you could put both those guys in there and really create some havoc for defenses. If the Browns needed a boost to wake up and start playing football and making this offense come alive, Kareem Hunt better darn well be it. I don't think you're going to have him beyond the season, but who's to say you wouldn't re-sign him and then rock a little Ernest and Byner situation, little Mack and Byner?
That would be very interesting. We've seen it a few times in the modern NFL with the ability to play those two tandem backs and really create a very strong running back game and passing game out of the backfield. And I mean, money is shifty with this. We don't know exactly how John Dorsey wants to utilize the salary cap right now and going in the future. But I know he doesn't want to add any more money with the wide receiver core, and that's what we think Higgins out in the window, and that's why he's in the dog pound. So interesting to see if he would re-up a deal with Kareem Hunt. If he comes out guns blazing in this back half of the season, he might require a huge contract extension because teams, and if he continues building his character, because that was a big concern. So if he's so far quiet doubters since it happened.
We gotta see what it's gonna look like in the field, though. We gotta see if he's able to come back in and play at this form.
Yeah.
But he's an Ohio boy, which is nice. You gotta love that piece of it. So I mean, obviously he's got the support from that aspect. Excited to see if they'll have him run like a 2-back tandem thing, because we should really be a running first football team. Yep. And then I'll open up the pass.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought we were supposed to. I would love to do the Rams offense, the old zone run, play action offense kind of deal. But
Dorsey is starting to line up his ducks in a row though here in terms of where he wants to put his money, and he actually just re-signed Treader.
J.C. Treader,
our starting center, who's quietly had a really great season so far, and he's been one of the strongest points in the line. And
on the team.
Yeah, and on the team. And so they gave him extension, and I think it's a good start.
$32.5 million total.
23+ guaranteed. Obviously, it's a good start. You still have guys that need to be re-signed coming up in Myles Garrett, Baker Mayfield. So you got a couple of guys out there that need to be re-signed. Denzel Ward's going to come up. But I think with the window that we keep talking about, you can put some more money out there. And if you would have this crazy 2-back tandem with Kareem and Chubb, is it worth putting the money out there now during this window if it means you could turn your offense to another level?
Well, if there's any time to spend money, it's when you're trying to win. And that's what we're trying to do. So if you're going to spend money, do it now. Spend money on the line, address that, spend a few draft picks on it, or just figure it out in off season. So we didn't do it in the trade deadline. And yeah, spend money where you need it and where you think your biggest gaps or weaknesses are. And like I said, this is the time to do it. And you have to do it in a rebuilding mode where you're trying to shed cap and try to draft picks. That's not what we are right now. We changed what our goal is for the next few years for the Cleveland Browns by drafting Baker, and that is starting to pan out. But by trading for Vernon, trading for Odell Beckham, and signing pieces like that, and signing Kareem Hunt, we're in playoff mode. That's our goal.
If we would only show that on the field, that'd be very welcomed.
Yeah, I think I pretty much say everything that Freddie has said with the results that he's acquired.
Yeah, I'm just I'm kind of over Freddie at the moment. I just want to see them perform and to go win some games.
I mean, that's about all the players. I don't want to hear any of this trash. I don't want to hear about any shoes. I don't want to hear about how many times you shaved your mustache in an amount of one day with 3, by the way. I don't want to hear any of this outside stuff. I don't want to hear how we're going to fix it. I just want to see you fixing it.
Right.
I would literally not even care if he just sat down in these like weekly press conferences, didn't say anything, and literally just stayed there the allotted time that you had to be per NFL or whatever, and then just go up and go back to work. Right. That would be the best. I would love that.
Kind of like that Detroit player who said Detroit versus everybody after the one Monday night game. He was like Detroit versus everybody. Detroit versus everybody.
Well, it's more someone wins in football. I'm gonna see if someone get fined.
I'm gonna see if someone
get fined.
That's fine too.
And then get back to work.
You know who does have some optimism though about the Browns is defensive end Myles Garrett. He thinks the Browns could easily go 10-6.
Not easily.
He said.
Did he say easily?
He said, here's the exact quote from Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is definitely an optimistic player, and he says, "I don't see why we can't be 10-6. We can make a run for it." That to me,
it doesn't sound like easily.
Yeah, he's saying like it's totally possible though. Like,
yeah, I believe it is. I think with the pieces we have, I believe it is. If I'm thinking from a coaching standpoint though, I don't think it's as easily done. I think if we have the right coaching in place, it can be. But Freddie hasn't showed me that yet.
I just hope that Kareem Hunt's going to be your supercharger for this offense.
You know who also was going to be a supercharger? You know who also was going to be a supercharger?
Yeah, we know.
The next level?
We understand.
Odell Beckham.
We get you, Tim. We're here with you.
Top 3, wide receiver in the league.
We know.
Yeah.
I just want to win football games.
Yeah.
Just want to win football games, please. All right, so I'm about done with the Browns for the moment. We're gonna wait and see what happens on Sunday. We're gonna hope and cross our fingers, and we're gonna hope they Kareem Hunt and the Browns put together a nice game plan and just throttle the Bills because that'd be just phenomenal.
Well, the offense isn't very good on the Josh Allen. He's kind of more of a runner than a passer. He's a gunslinger, but he's not very accurate at this point in his career. They have an okay running game from what I know, but the defense has been the staple for the last several years with them. So if you can come out and figure out and tear them apart on the offensive side, then you should have no problem beating them.
I can agree with you to an extent.
But they don't play hard. They're a gritty defensive team. They've shown that for several years now.
We got to keep turnovers to 0 again, just like last week. But when we get down the red zone, we got to score some freaking points.
Yeah, as many as people didn't like that last week's game.
Feed the ball to Odell at all costs. Like, people say it's a bad game plan, but I'd rather throw the ball to Odell 15 times than throw the ball in a double coverage on 4th down.
I'd also just bring that back a little bit to a more simple idea. We were 2-6. For the last 9 weeks of football, we've tried not to force in the ball, right? We have tried spreading out, finding open receiver, getting more people involved, and then throwing him the ball when it comes to like in the flow of the game. And that's what's
just
out.
Give him the ball.
We're 2-6 because of that.
When the game,
we couldn't be worse than 2-6. So just force feed him the ball.
Could be
and if we lose, okay, if we lose, yes, against all these awful teams, that would be a real shocker. But
Baltimore,
you play the Bengals twice.
I'm saying we beat Baltimore.
Okay, I'm saying in the next coming day, you have to lose to the Bengals twice.
Oh, you shouldn't.
You should immediately leave.
But it's the NFL, so we shouldn't have lost to Denver either. But
okay,
here we are.
But okay, so the point is, if you're gonna lose throwing to your best players.
Yeah, I'll take that.
We've seen that spreading out the ball and trying to get him the ball within the flow of the game has not worked so far. So try something different. If it's on force him the ball, and if you have a few turnovers that way, or something doesn't work, then fine. Just bring it back down the baseline and start spreading the ball out again. But until then, give him the ball. That's why you paid him. Oh, that's why you bought him in. Give him the ball.
I believe that your superstars in any sport are the difference makers between winning and losing. And the Browns have too many of those superstars to not be winning games. And when it comes down to it, they're going to make the plays in the biggest moments, and you got to trust them for it. And like you said, I'm gonna live and die with that. If
you live and die with your best players,
absolutely, 100%.
And if they don't make plays, then you're gonna say, okay, we tried it in best players' hands and it just didn't work out.
That's fine, and I'll live with that.
I'd
rather live with that than not have the opportunities.
If Kitchens went post game after a loss and said, we tried to give our best players the ball, we tried to throw the ball, it just didn't happen. He wasn't able to make enough. We weren't able to make enough plays. I said, okay, that's fine.
I'd accept that.
Yeah, it's way better than a lot of things he's been saying about. We just need to be more disciplined. We need to be better. We need to make more plays. We need to not let the outside noise. I mean, we'll say that he's not saying that. But.
No, Freddie says he's gonna look at stats
or penalties and even practice penalties. And we'll let that works out.
All right. On a more positive note, we have another Cleveland team that's actually doing quite well, even though the record is not above 500. The Cavs have made some really nice strides, and they actually take on the Washington Wizards, which will be really interesting because we play against two former Cavs, Isaiah Thomas and C.J. Myles. I personally have always liked C.J. Myles. I had zero love for Isaiah Thomas, but I personally like C.J. Myles. He's always out there making plays, and he's got a great jump shot. I think he's a great veteran piece to have on any team.
Yeah, I think he's similar to what Kyle Korver brings. I don't think he's quite the teacher that Kyle Korver is on a team, the veteran presence. But C.J. Myles is an excellent professional, and he works day in and day out. And you know what you're going to get from a dead-eye shooter who just runs off the ball and knocks down open shots.
So when you're playing a team that has C.J. Myles and Isaiah Thomas, you should throttle them.
Defensively.
You should go at them every chance you get. Garland and Sexton should absolutely feast tonight versus the Wizards. You know, you have Bradley Beal out there too, and Bradley Beal's not
he's a starter. He's the starter.
But if I'm Garland, I'm gonna go at Isaiah Thomas, man.
I want
to kill that matchup.
I was just thinking about this.
The Cavs are gonna run every pick and roll through him. They're gonna isolate him on defense. You need to go at Isaiah Thomas because he's a negative defender. And you can literally get a mismatch anytime you want.
He's one of the worst defenders in the league, but I was thinking about it. With Bradley Beal in that starting lineup.
Picking pops. Kevin Love, man.
I'd imagine they put Bradley Beal on Sexton just from the speed standpoint. So if that is the case, then Garland should have his best scoring game of the season. I mean, he's only had 12 points at his game high so far this season, but he's only shot 29% on the year. So expected for him to take 15 shots this game and to finally kind of find some rhythm a little bit.
It'll be interesting to see tonight what the Cavs do because what I'm looking for
wasn't on a good team
is do the Cavs have enough pieces beyond just Love and Thompson? Your veterans are carrying your team right now, but do you have other pieces that can continue to develop? We believe Jetty can be a 3-and-D guy. He's shown that. He's shooting, I think, 45% from 3 right now, which is just ridiculous. I love that out of Jetty.
John Beilein raved about how Jetty came in the offseason, and he was so much more improved. Because when he was hired, he had goals for him, and then he came back in training camp, and Jetty worked on those goals that Beilein wanted him to work on. But I think I differ from you with that. I think Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson are leading the team. I don't think they're carrying the team. I think in John Beilein's system, I don't think there is that carrying the team mentality that we saw with Kyrie Irving and LeBron James when they were here. I think it's a different system, and I don't think that's the right terminology with how this offense is going to be ran.
The Cavs are have won games and are staying in games because of how good Love and Thompson have been. They're not winning the games because they don't have a third or fourth component that has stepped up on a nightly basis to win those games.
Well, yeah,
you haven't got that production. You haven't got the production out of Sexton. You haven't got it out of Garland. You haven't got it enough out of Jetty. You haven't got enough out of Clarkson. Those are four players that need to consistently come in and perform for you. I think Clarkson, as of late, has played better. I think you're still getting up and downs from Sexton. You definitely haven't got what you want quite yet out of Garland. And then Jetty has had up and downs as well, where he's actually showed some nice sparks and some nice shooting moments. But you want to see that on more on a nightly basis. I want to go into every night and expect that Jetty's going to hit those shots, and that that Sexton's going to make quality decisions on the offense, and that Clarkson's going to give me offensive scoring off the bench. And he did all last season for you, but really when you break it down and look at the film, was Clarkson just scoring a lot because the Cavs were bad, or was he scoring like good buckets in like the rhythm of the offense? And I think that's what the challenge is now, is he's developed this skill set, he has the ability to score, but now he's got to do it within the flow of the offense, and you need someone else to be consistent on a nightly basis, and the Cavs just haven't had that yet.
Well, Clarkson, to bring back the last point you had, Clarkson last year, he was kind of that stabilizer. He was that kind of a rock in that messy, dysfunctional Cavs team. So he was allowed to be like kind of like the person to bring that team down the baseline, or to bring some consistency within his chaotic form of iso ball that he does, or like his own kind of scoring that he brings to the offense. And he just needs to figure out how to do that on a nightly basis within the more structured scheme of John Beilein. But I think that's what you get from a young team, and especially in a new system, where they have these flashes of seeing what they can do on a nightly basis, but they need to just figure it out and do it every single time. Back to Jetty, you brought up. I think he's capitalizing on his opportunities, because he's getting a lot of touches. He's done a lot of opportunities early on in games, and you see him more later on in games. But the middle, the second, third quarter, he's not really getting opportunities. And I think within the flow of the offense a little bit, he's kind of getting left out on the offensive end. But I think I've been very impressed with Jetty so far in this season. As for Garland, like I said, he's still trying to figure out and find his feet. In the new NBA, like I said, he's just kind of off. I mean, you can kind of compare it to Trae Young last year. I mean, many young rookies and young players can struggle, and they'll eventually find a rhythm and just catch up to speed and find out what shots they're allowed to take. I think that's Garland's biggest trouble, is what shots is he supposed to take, and within what shots he's comfortable with, like all his shots.
I know John Beilein's putting a lot of effort into developing these guys too. Him and Garland and Sexton did some drills with Beilein together in practice the other day, and we're spending some time just doing some 2-on-2s, 2-on-3 drills where they were allowed to kind of work on the taking the right shot opportunities, and that was great to see. Because John Beilein's focusing on his two guys that need to continue to be developed,
and he's focused on shot selection.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they're highlighting that in film on a daily basis. Going, look, this is a shot you can't take. This is a shot you should take. This is an opportunity where you passed up, where you should have pulled. And like we said earlier, I think tonight's a great opportunity for Garland to kind of set some quality things on film and start to develop that NBA game a little bit more, and you should dominate over Isaiah Thomas. I would accept a good performance from Garland. I would love to see him dominate, but I'll accept a good performance with healthy shot selection. Probably 8 to 10 shots would be happy. Looking for 10 to 12 points. That'd be a productive evening for me. I
think Garland should use tonight to expand his shot selection, because he's been very, very conservative with what shots he takes on a night-to-night basis. He's been a little more wild, a little more hectic shots later in games when he has touched the ball, hasn't got up a shot in a long time. But for the most part, he's trying to be that good teammate. He's trying to get other people involved, and what will help his teammates get involved is if he takes his shots. And once he starts taking his shots, then that's going to open up and make his ability to create for other people, other players on his team, and make that easier.
Do you have a pro comparison who's currently in the league, like to compare Garland to?
I like the. Well, we said it. It must have been over a month ago on the podcast. I like C.J. McCollum. I think he plays with great decisiveness, and he's not fast, but he always moves with a purpose. And I think him, and I think Trae Young, and there's one more, Devin Booker. The three people who just move. They don't move very fast at times, but when they do, they move very fast. And they always move decisively.
That made zero sense. They don't move very fast times.
No. 80% of the time, they look like they're moving in slow motion. But when they decide to move fast, they do it with a purpose, and they hit the gaps and hit the spots, and they use their vision to create to kind of seize whatever.
You're saying they're great at being change of speed guys.
Yeah, they have great change of pace.
I like that. I think those are all good comparisons to have. I would love to. I think he's like a Trae Young light at the moment. Like I think he's like a diet Trae Young.
And I don't think he's as fast. And Trae Young is an elite level passer. He came in to the league day one doing that. And Garland's shown flashes, but I don't want to disrespect Trae Young because he's been phenomenal since the back half of the last season and into this year.
That's why
this year he lets it also.
That's why I said he's a like a diet Trae Young.
Diet Trae Young. Like a light beer. Like a light beer Trae Young.
Yeah, like a
Bud Light.
Like a less potent version of Trae Young.
Yeah, Trae Young or Damian Lillard or Steph Curry are like the specialty beers, and then you got Darius Garland, with the light beer.
Okay, last couple things here. We've got some expiring contracts, obviously, on the Cavs roster.
All of them.
This is super interesting because the Cavs will be a great experiment. This is a great experiment almost to see how much value these expiring contracts actually have. We have Thompson, Henson, Clarkson, Brandon Knight, Deladova, Ante Zizic, and McKinney, who are all expiring deals. And we're going to find out how much those deals are worth. Kobe Altman's loaded the roster up this way on purpose. You can either take on assets with bad contracts, or you can flip them for other assets or second-chance players. But at some point this season, the Cavs are going to try to make a hefty amount of trades. I thought we even saw a signaling to looking to trade a player last week when Brandon Knight played against the Mavericks. It was kind of a showcase game. I don't know if it actually worked out that way. But Brandon Knight got some good minutes. He hit some threes. He looked decent and serviceable. But I don't think it was an amazing performance. But the Cavs are gonna have to make some moves here. So we have to figure out who belongs in the roster and who's gonna be traded.
I agree. I think they were showcasing Brandon Knight, and you mentioned that he looked serviceable and nothing past that. But that's all you really need in a trade. Like, if it's your first game out and you look decent. So I think with a little time into the system, this shaking the rust off a little bit, because he didn't really play much in the preseason. Did his feet back, but I think, yeah, I do agree. It's interesting to see coming up here, especially in January, come February, on the trade deadline. Where will Kobe Altman make moves, and who will he keep? Because I really want Tristan Thompson to be in the Cavs' long-term future, because he is on an expiring contract, but what is he going to be worth? He got that big defensive money, the LeBron money that he got in, 2014?
Yeah, LeBron did earn that big contract, and for a while
he owned it.
Like a really painful contract, and now it feels a little bit less painful.
Well, for 2 years it looked great. He's like, all right, he's playing great. He's an absolute animal.
I don't know if it looked great because
defensively, and then on the rebounds,
there was no better option.
On the rebounds alone,
versatility.
He averaged a ridiculous amount of offensive rebounds in the playoffs for 2 or 3 years, and he made big plays in the playoffs.
I mean, he was huge for versatility. He's a great player for the playoffs.
In the playoffs alone, he owned those contracts. But after post LeBron, you're like, ugh. Like these contests don't look so good.
Right. It always feels less warm and fuzzy when you're not winning games.
And you're not in the playoffs, yeah.
Right, exactly. So, out of these players,
what is he worth?
you believe Thompson's one we should keep. I know you're a fan of Henson. I think he's a player you could definitely keep as well.
He hasn't been utilized, and he hasn't been healthy.
He's injured right now. So
I know. Yeah, he hasn't been healthy.
We'll see if that makes a difference. Not if he can get healthy and stay healthy.
But in my opinion, I think he should be played, or at least have more minutes than Larry Nance Jr. I think he fits better. I think he's less of a defensive liability, and I feel like after he gets some confidence, he's a better 3-point shooter. Because I don't like his shot, Nance's shot at all.
You know that Tim and I are not huge Larry Nance and Colin Sexton fans. So we're just going to continue to talk about that.
Well, I mean, until they
show that they can contribute to wins, I don't know how much I can be fans.
And until they show that the things that we don't like about them,
I just want to see them make basic basketball plays. I want to know they can make a basic read and can execute a play properly. And I just don't see that enough out of them.
That's not what I mean. Like, I don't even have to be that general. Like, with Larry Nance, I just don't want him to make the same stupid fouls with jumping over someone's back on a post-up. That never works. Every time you've done it since, I think I've seen you since playing with the Lakers, it's never worked. Just stupid decision with the ball. That has made two. The third thing with him, just off the top of my head, would be him trying to do the most stupidest dunks at the worst times. Like, you don't have Donovan Mitchell verticality. You don't have Vince Carter like vertical. Like, you're explosive, but you're not elite level explosive in the NBA. And he reaches on some of his abilities to dunk some of those balls.
He's not fast enough to like have that kind of. He's not like Blake Griffin explosive either. Like
early
Blake Griffin explosive was like, oh my gosh,
like big man. Like, he's not really big man explosive. Like he's still explosive.
He's a great dunker, but like he's a slow dunker. It takes him a minute to get up there.
And he doesn't carry over long distances. Like he can get up. He doesn't go out. He doesn't go up and out. That's what he thinks he does.
That's what happens when you not have the speed. Like
and then my problem with Colin Sexton is his slow decision making. It's beyond below average. And if you would just make decisions quicker, that would eliminate an entire pet peeve of mine. The other thing would be looking down and looking down while dribbling and not utilizing or attacking like situation. Like I saw him pull 2 deep threes against the Mavericks against 7-footers.
Oh, it's bad.
If
you want a game to outline why Sexton is not going to be a part of the Cavs' future, just turn on that Mavs game because he had zero court awareness and got like absolutely dominated the entire time he was in there.
And I don't think he understands how tall 7-footers are. Like there was a 6'3" in Porzingis and 7'3" and 7'4" Boban, I don't know his last name is.
It's impossible to pronounce.
Boban Milovanovic, or I don't know.
Yeah, he looked dominant.
The 7'3" and 7'4", and then he does later in the game. He takes those deep threes over top of them. Like if you think you're faster than De'Aaron Fox, then I should be a blow by every time.
Yeah, you should. I just don't think that like he's going to fit this system going forward. But that's okay.
Anyways, basketball IQ,
back to
slow decision making, and then not being able to read and decide when to score.
Okay, so back to the Cavs that we think we're gonna what we'd like to sign. Is Brandon Knight's next? Do you think he's gonna have a spot in this roster going forward?
I
really don't think so. I think they're trying to trade him. I think they want to get something from him early to free up a roster spot so they can start looking at other assets.
And I know John Beelan mentioned that you want Jordan Clarkson in that Wolf position, that 3 small forward position. But I think once we get Dylan Windler back, I think he's going to be way better than people think. And once Kevin Porter gets out of his rookie slump and starts finding some rhythm, I don't think he's going to have minutes in that position. And it's going to bring him back to that point guard, that shooting guard, ball dominant player off the bench, which then we won't need Brandon Knight because we have Dele off the bench.
I would love to see Kevin Porter slide over to the 2 a little bit.
That's fine. Yeah, I like that.
I think that'd be really fun.
And I think that fits.
And it gives you a lot of athleticism at that position, and it lets you shut down some of those tougher 2 guards.
And then it fits what I'm into my point, which then we won't need Brandon Knight, and then it gives a spot for Dylan Windler off the bench.
I like it. Dellavedova, I think you have to re-sign him at this point, but for a small deal. I don't think anyone else in the league wants Dellavedova.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a 1-to-1. I think you give him $5.5 million, and then you bring down to like 3.5 next year. So you load him up.
It's a small contract.
And this year, when you have the money, and then when you do it, flip it. You probably do 3.5 this year if you re-sign him, and then for 2020 you do like 5.5 when you have the capital.
I think he has to realize that like at this point of his career, there's not a lot of teams that are going to want his type of play, but I think a lot of people value his basketball IQ and his leadership. But with that said, like, where does that fit on an NBA roster?
He's limited too.
He's limited.
He's not the defender people think he is, and I think the reffing, the officiating has changed since he was dominant in the 2015-2016 era with the Cavs. Shutting down Troy, shutting down
they just don't even
Thompson.
They don't even hang on players like that anymore. Like
and players are smarter like that too. They when you feel a hand on you, they're going up with you, and they didn't quick fouls on you, and you're out of the game.
So I don't think he necessarily fits today's NBA basketball. But I think he has value for the team.
He just doesn't fit it at a mass contract. I think he's got his big contract in his NBA career.
Yeah, so he's got to take more like what's his name? The guy,
veteran money.
Like veteran money. Not Damon Jones.
Owen Newell.
No, who's the Jones guy? The champ they call him. What's his name?
James Jones.
James Jones.
The one that went to 6 straight NBA finals. Who carried LeBron James through 6 NBA finals.
Yeah, you got to give him like some James Jones money. Yeah. Like understand his value is huge on the team, but he's got to know that he's not going to make a lot of money. Like it's what it is. Ante Zizic, pretty much the door's shut on him. We didn't pick up their option. Add him as a trade piece.
Use him as a potential like gem.
Let somebody else be like, oh, this guy's interesting.
Yeah, Dane did that to us, so let's do it to someone else.
That's fine. And then we have McKinney, who's on a really tiny contract, who's either like a guy you can release no problem.
He's a nice
half his money's not even guaranteed. I don't believe.
No, he's a nice 14th best player.
Yeah, he's a great.
He's a good defender. He's a good defender. He's roster. Lanky. I think he's 6'8".
He can shoot a little bit.
Yeah, you do you remember he made every corner 3 during like the last 2 years for the Warriors? Like he's known as a knockdown like corner 3-point shooter. I don't think he's a shooter or a scorer, but he for whatever reason he always makes corner 3s.
That's fine. I mean, someone could find value in that. I guess. I mean, I'm sure LeBron could for the Lakers if they needed a bottom of the barrel player.
Yeah. I think so.
All right, so.
He has value on a
just
team.
To summarize, we want to keep Thompson, keep Henson if he stay healthy. Clarkson doesn't really fit the system anymore. And then Knight's gone, keep Delly, Ante's gone, McKinney's gone. So out of that, you're going to keep 3 players, and then you're going to trade the rest, more or less.
I'd also be open to trading back for bigger sellers as well, along with draft picks, because there's not many players in free agencies coming in. So I'd say push your mass amount of capital back 1 year, and then have it all free for potential signings in 2021.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, so Cavs got 3 games coming up here. Wizards tonight, Knicks, Sixers, all 3 on the road. What do you think the Cavs do record-wise? I see 2-1.
Wizards, Nets, Sixers. I think we would be in the first 2, and we're losing to the Sixers. I think, again, just what we did to Celtics, just what we did to Milwaukee. I think we're going to be in it for about 3.5 quarters. But then that young team that doesn't understand how to win yet is going to be the Achilles heel. And ultimately, there's more talent. There's more established talent on the Sixers.
They did beat the Sixers last year, though. Remember that Clarkson moment where he was blowing kisses to people?
Yeah.
That was pretty
fun.
That
was a lot of fun. So fun. Maybe he can channel that, and maybe he has something to that Sixers team. Some players just ball out against certain teams.
They just get up for certain teams.
And Clarkson might be that player against Philly.
I'd love to see it.
So I expect to be. We could be.
I expect to be in the game.
We could be 3-0. I don't expect it. I expect to be 2-1. I expect to have a better idea and be more organized than New York Knicks, who are just extremely dysfunctional at this point. I don't believe much in RJ Barrett. One of the Morris brothers, I think, is over there.
The whole Knicks team.
Wendell's a good player, but that's about it.
They thought they were going to be the Brooklyn Nets, and they're just not.
Yeah, they thought they were going to Zion, KD, Kyrie Irving.
They were so hyped.
Kawhi Leonard, Drake, Jay-Z,
They're gonna have an all-star cast.
Beyonce.
It's just not.
They were about to have their own little entertainment. I don't know, conglomerate.
You know,
720.
Entertainment 720. No, they were not going to have that. It was they had all these big dreams, and it all fell apart real quickly.
And I have no sympathy because they are not a good fan base.
I don't like Knicks as a
They're
fan
not
base.
a good fan base.
They're an annoying fan base.
They're
Knicks,
very much
Knicks tape. Knicks are garbage.
Yes.
Hot garbage.
And then
Cavs have a brighter future than the Knicks do. Hot take.
shocker.
Yeah,
It's not a hot take. Just feel.
it's just facts.
If you guys know.
It's just facts.
Last thing we're gonna do. Buy or sell. We got one this week. This episode. We're gonna do. Should the Cavs re-sign Tristan Thompson?
So we were kind of discussed this, and I think it all depends on the money. Like, if you can get him on like a team-friendly deal, that'd be great because he is getting older and stuff. But he's putting in together some of his best basketball. I think ultimately we want to re-sign him. I think ultimately it won't get done though.
I'm more optimistic. I think the way they did it done and the way to appeal, make it appealing for Tristan Thompson is to front load his deal. So I would love for 3 or 4 years to be under $10 million per year. But I think you could structure it, you can give him 14, 15, 16 this year or maybe next year, and then dwindle it off quite a bit as the years progress. And I think that may make it appealing for him.
I wouldn't mind it.
But if he does feel like he can get more from teams, then you probably won't be able to retain him.
I just think that someone's going to give him some silly money. Like, you know how how everyone loves Al Horford? I think there's some real love out there for Tristan Thompson, and I just don't think the Cavs are going to be able to want to match that or match that. All right,
I think that's not about wraps it up. The Wizards game is starting right now.
Don't you have a quote or not quote? You had a question from somebody.
I have no questions. We do. We have one.
You had someone DM'd you a question, so you wanted to make sure
we have one fan question this week. Every episode, we answer your questions. And this, whatever they might be, retaining Cleveland sports. And this week we have one from Amber. She said, "How can the Browns implement Hunt in their offense effectively?"
I think when you do that, you have to work him in slowly because he's just coming back, and like you said earlier, you don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in. So I would like to see him get 10 to 20 snaps this week. I think that'd be really nice. They don't necessarily be carries, but if you can have him out on the field from 10 to 20 snaps, I think that'd be a great way to mix up the offense and make the defense account for him.
I think they should be about 50-50, 40-60 in terms of running the passing snaps. And he did have that sports hernia that he dealt with during his suspension a few weeks ago. I think week 6 or week 7, he's officially healthy from that, supposedly. But yeah, that sounds about good. 20, 25 snaps. See what he's capable of, kind of test the waters a little bit. See how he can affect and impact this offense.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to see him be productive and show some stuff out there. I think he can definitely affect the way the defense game plans, and I'd love to see him catch some balls out of the backfield. I think it's one of the things he does best. So that's how I would implement him. I'd work him in slowly, and then if he starts to dominate, you could definitely give him more touches as it goes on.
And just play how it's going. If he's killing it, and keep on giving snaps.
I don't want to do that nonsense where you're splitting snaps between Hunt and Chubb because I think they both could be effective on a week basis. But I would love to see them.
Just have them in there. Have them in there. One of them in there every snap. It's just like in basketball. You want to have with the Cavs. You want to have at least in that 2014-2018 run, finals run. You either had one of the big three in. You had Love, you had Kyrie, you had LeBron in at all times. And often you should have had Love in when the other two sat out because then he can dominate the ball. There's so many different ways we didn't utilize Kevin Love in that stretch. But that's how I do it with Kareem Hunt.
As long as you want him on the field, then you should
always have him on the field.
You should always
just like OBJ and Jarvis. One of them should always be on the field.
I agree with you.
But that about wraps it up. You can always send us messages, DM us of your questions. We'll answer them every week.
All right. Well, hey, this is the Everything Is Earned podcast. My name is Mike,
and I'm your co-host Tim.
And remember, in Cleveland, everything is earned.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.